Retire Plugged In presents Why Your Retirement Window is More Important Than Your Nest Egg. Planning well doesn't mean being ready. The real truth about retirement. Today, I want to talk about an important milestone that shows up at some point for everybody. That is, your last paycheck. Now, why are we talking about that here today? Well, in case you haven't read about it in the news, Trump offered a buyout plan to federal employees last year. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management, known as OPM, emailed millions of employees about the Fork in the Road program. It's a deferred resignation sent by email to federal employees stating the accepted employees would be put on paid administration leave, not required to work until September 30th, 2025, and some until December 31st, 2025. The last paycheck for many was 3 months ago. You may have been affected by this, or you may know someone who is affected by this. And it's ironic because here we are, Christmas has passed, tax time is here, and getting that last paycheck was a mix of emotions that probably hasn't yet subsided. But some practical things really show up with this as well. You've planned your retirement, you know you have money, you feel like you're ready. You've planned for years for the day you can quit work and live the life you've always dreamed of. We look forward to enjoying relaxation, exercise, trips, and spending more time with the grandchildren. Sound familiar? But what if you're one of the federal employees who were suddenly given the option last year to get paid for not working until December 31st, then retired, which you didn't plan on, or lose your job? Maybe you're not a federal employee, but AI is taking your job. Sure, you, the federal employees, were paid from April until December, but that month was your last paycheck. And even now, in March, many have not yet received their full pension, since it normally takes OPM 3 to 6 months to figure out your full amount. You know you have money in your TSP. And what about those of you losing your jobs to AI without a pension? How big is your retirement account? Even if your retirement account has grown over the years, no one warned you that retirement isn't just about the income and the money in your retirement account today. No one warns you that a plan for today can be a disaster for tomorrow. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. We believe that those retiring have not been adequately educated about the pitfalls of retirement, and we're not just speaking about financial matters. Our goal at Retire Plugged In, an educational program for pre-retirees and retirees, is to shine a light on the hidden dangers to your health, wealth, and mental well-being in retirement. Happiness isn't about money. It's about the life you live every day. What you're reading right now is our initial article to warn you of the danger of only addressing the money you have at retirement. Retirement is about more than just money, as we'll explore here in a moment. Helping people with their first time is what I do. Why do I do it? Who am I to warn you of retirement issues? My life's goal has been to educate and help people live the best life they can live, starting with my first career as an elementary school teacher. Yeah, can you believe it? That was many years ago. I helped young students read their first book, understand words, and write their own so they could participate in all the world has to offer. I was following in my mother's footsteps. I taught in the same school at the same time, a little school called Ray Abrams. That was in New Orleans. Hurricane Katrina wiped that school off the map. Hard to believe that school has been gone since 2006. Years later, I taught my autistic grandchild to read when the school told us she could never learn to read. Everyone deserves to get the help they need, no matter their stage in life. At least that's been my life's philosophy, and it's one of the reasons I am so devoted to helping retirees and pre-retirees get the unbiased information they need. Which brings me to another part of my career past as a real estate broker and mortgage originator. Looking back at my old cards, again, those companies are gone too, but they helped me to grow the knowledge and skills that enable me to be of service in the field I've chosen for the rest of my life's work. Back then, I helped young and some older folks purchase their first home, even though they were told they would never qualify. How? I learned about their challenges, then helped them overcome them. From there, I realized my passion is to help people live their best lives, regardless of age or stage. I went into financial services to help people realize their dream, just as I did in real estate. I soon learned that retirees are the least informed about not only finances, but also the non financial issues they will face in retirement. Whether it's been read their first book as an elementary school teacher, buy their first home as a real estate professional, or in this current phase of my life, help people go through the process of retirement, which we all go through for the first and only time. I don't know why I've always been drawn to help people with their firsts. I think it's because there's a mix of excitement and uncertainty, and I've always been drawn to help people with these big life transitions. It's something I consider my mission in life. Having a psychology degree, an education degree, and all the licenses for financial services, I felt pulled to educate once again, to improve the lives of those who worked so hard to reach this stage of life. That's when I began specializing in retirement, and through working exclusively with this group for the last 20 years, I have a lot to share with those approaching retirement about health, wealth, finances, and happiness. I have all these designations: certified in long-term care, master elite IRA, advisor, federal employee consultant. But do they matter? No. What matters is the knowledge I've gained in obtaining them. Your retirement is not only a first for you, but it's also your one and only opportunity to get it right. There are no practice rounds. Retirement today is so different from that of your parents and grandparents. It used to be simple, but times have changed. Your window has new challenges. Between the current forces we're about to discuss and the complications of understanding IRAs, 401ks, RMDs, what's that? Social Security claiming, did you know there were over 500 options? Medicare choices, A, B, C, D, Medicare Advantage, and so many more decisions to make, some irrevocable, that can determine how well you live in your retirement. Your health, wealth, and happiness depend on the right decisions for your situation. That will be the goal of this newsletter, to go into detail and share little known information and case studies that can help you improve your retirement. Let's get started with why being prepared for the day you retire is not enough. Your retirement window. What is that and why does it matter? Today's world can determine your future instead of you. The window of time when you were born, or the window of time when you retire, can determine not only how you view the world, but how the world changes your life. If your parents were born in the Depression, they were prepared to suck it up in retirement. If you were born in the 50s or 60s, the boom times, you expect a lot more in retirement. We have economic cycles that we can't control. Will inflation eat up the value of your retirement income so that you feel a growing pinch in everyday life? Did you know that statistically, a married couple who own their own home, even with a mortgage, and have $100,000 in assets, is likely that one of them will live into their 90s? At least one of you may have 30 years of time to fill and endure 30 years of inflation. With a historical average of 3% inflation, if you're 63 and living on $6,000 a month now, you'll need almost $15,000 at age 93. And that's not even taking future care needs into account. There are three forces that have radically changed this retirement window. Force number one is the economic cycle. We have a market at an all-time high. Will there be another 2008? Could you lose so much of your retirement account that you can't keep your money in your income up? We can't predict the direction of the economy, but it's always been cyclical. The worst part? The generation retiring now has additional challenges. Over 35% of those retiring are supporting grown children in some way, and many have not only grown children living with them, but also grandchildren, all in need of emotional and many times financial support. Interest rates fell to an all-time low, now rising, while housing costs have skyrocketed, preventing your grown children from buying their first home. The National Association of Realtors 2025 profile of home buyers and sellers shows the median age for first-time home buyers hit a record high of 40 years old in 2025, up from age 29 in 1981. No wonder grown children are still living under mom and dad's roof or asking them for money. All the while, inflation eats up more of your income for everyday needs, food, gas, all the daily needs. Force number two is the social dynamic today. Did anyone warn you about the social dynamics of retirement in the 2000s? Today's window of time has a social dynamic that was never seen before in previous generations. Oh, we have had many friends and associates at work, but today's world is quite different than your parents' world. Our work friends are busy when they get home. They have no time to just jibber jabber with you after work as they did when you worked with them. Most families are scattered, living in other states or even other countries. Your old co-workers, children, grandchildren, and old friends aren't next door or down the street. The highest divorce rates increases today is among couples aged 50 and over. Many retirees find themselves isolated or disconnected after a few years or even less time in retirement. The grown children are living their lives, and the grandchildren are no longer little and aren't excited about visiting grandma and grandpa anymore. Adding to that, there are more disabled children today than ever before. The Southern Autism and Research Center reports that in the 1980s, it was estimated that 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Today, it's 1 in 31. This not only affects finances, but also your ability to maintain your own friends and relationships if a family member is affected, which leads us to the most prevalent new social dynamic: loneliness. In today's world, we don't have to leave our home for groceries, dinner delivery, banking, entertainment. Without a social network of peers in retirement, the American Medical Association identifies loneliness as the significant cause of illness in retirement, increasing risks for heart disease, stroke, dementia, depression, anxiety, and even premature death. If we're isolated, disconnected from friends, how do we make new relationships, fill our days with happy connections, and enjoy life? And then we have force number three, cyber risk, scams. There's a rise in scams and cyber risks over the last decade. Now that you've retired, you've lived a whole and fulfilling life so far, and you're looking forward to the rewards you've earned. But did anyone warn you that others assume you've earned that retirement, you have assets, and they'd like to scam you out of them? Yes, you're a target. You have a target on your back because the scammers and cyber criminals know you have the assets. I know of an instance where a 75-year-old was getting a Coke at a McDonald's drive-thru and someone bumped them from behind, then claimed the 75-year-old backed into them and proceeded to sue them for injuries. When someone with gray hair has an accident, the first claim is that the elderly person didn't have the reflexes to prevent it, so it must be their fault. Okay, well, what if you just stay at home? They're coming for you. Fox Business News reported that older Americans lost up to $81.5 billion in this past year to fraud. According to the FTC, significant, devastating losses exceeding $100,000 are reportedly driving the surge, with adults reporting losses of more than $100,000, increasing more than fivefold from 2020 to 2024. We've had 3 clients scammed out of more than $100,000, and we're not talking uneducated or unintelligent people. To the scammers and cyber criminals, it's a numbers game. They hit you accidentally at the right time. We all believe we wouldn't fall for the schemes, but they can seem so real, particularly online. We'll have future articles addressing how AI can trick you and the schemes to watch out for. This confluence of events in this retirement window of economic cycles, social dynamics, and the rapid technology changes, particularly AI with cybercriminals and scammers targeting retirees, mean planning for the day you retire is just the beginning. What do you do about these forces? The first step is awareness. Being aware of these will help you be more informed. That's the goal of these newsletters. The second step is taking the right actions to address these forces in a way that makes sense for your situation. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the upcoming issues. We're going to talk about what retirement strategies you need to be thinking about. Be forewarned that retirement is an evolution not just of your finances, but also of your social life and your security, all of which we'll address in future articles. We'll talk about some of the things that enrage me and cause me to cringe about much of the misinformation out there about retirement. And that's just for starters. But for today, I just wanted to start the conversation. And I'll end today's issue with a question for you, which is this. Of the forces we discussed, economic cycles, scattered families in isolation, rapid technology with cyber risks and scams, which of these forces has you most concerned? Hit reply to let me know. I read every single reply that comes through. I'd love to know. It's going to help me determine what to focus on in the upcoming issues. Okay, I'll leave you with that for now. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. This is Nora, signing off.